All right. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you so much for attending again this continuation of our Śrī Upadeśāmṛtam series. Today is our 18th class, and as you can see with the new background, we are starting the fourth verse on Śrī Upadeśāmṛta. So, this series is a slow, methodical series where we are studying in a good amount of detail each phrase or each word within the verses of Śrī Upadeśāmṛtam by Srila Rupa Goswami. And of course, we are taking the shelter of our acharyas, Shri Radha Raman Das Goswami, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and also some writings from other acharyas, and our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So I would like to first of all thank Sripad Damodar Prabhu for being such a nice host. Also, Srimati Jayashree Didi for taking over the hosting whenever Damodar Prabhu is busy. For example, he has been very busy serving his Guru Maharaj and traveling with him, so he is getting the opportunity for wonderful personal service. And I think that Srimati Jayashree Didi is always ready to be a host and a backup for that. So thank you so much. And also to Srimati Radhika Didi, who is translating the Hindi alongside this presentation. And so that is a very kind, frankly, selfless service that she does for somebody very unqualified like myself. So thank you very much, Didi. So before we begin, let us perform Mangalacharan. And dear devotees, for those of you who know these verses, you can sing along with me. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय राधिकायै प्रियात्मने श्रीश्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्रीजीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त श्रीराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रते देवी सत्यवते नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So first of all, I'd like to offer my millions of obeisances unto the divine lotus feet of my spiritual master, Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupad, Paramhamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and also saying millions of obeisances unto the lotus feet of Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupad Stotra Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and all the Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga. And I pray to their lotus feet that whatever we discuss today, may it be in accordance with their Vani, with their moods, with their heart, with their instructions, and may we imbibe those instructions and let those bhavs, let those moods enter our heart and our lives. Hare Krishna. So thank you again, dear devotees. And as we are continuing the Śrī Upadeśāmṛta series, we first begin by offering a prayer to Śrī Rupa Goswami, the author of this wonderful scripture. And we have seen this prayer before because it is a very famous prayer by Śrī Narottam Das Thakur in Prema Chandrika. And the verse is Shri Chaitanya Manobishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadāti Svapadantikam. Damodar Prabhu, can you read the translation here?
Yes. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desires of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet?
Wonderful. So this verse, I picked it again. Normally we don't repeat the verse, but I picked it again because this verse has the word Dadāti. So Dadāti is our focus today, our topic today. And here Dadāti, as you can see, means give. So what are our acharyas always doing? What are the pure devotees in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always doing? They are Dadāti. They are givers. They're always giving. What are they giving? That inner desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this way, the acharyas are giving us very good example of proper dadati or proper giving. So, dear devotees, today, as we said, we are studying and moving on to the fourth verse. The fourth verse is very amazing because for the first three verses, we're hearing sort of do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. But in this verse, we are going to hear about the association that nourishes bhakti. And frankly speaking, when we are amongst a society of devotees in a sangha, then we are encountering many devotees throughout our bhakti sadhana practice. So this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami now shifts gears and tells us how we should associate with devotees. And not only associate, but lovingly associate with them. And because some of us, frankly speaking, I can say for myself, some of us forget how to love one another. So Srila Rupa Goswami is giving us those instructions that what are the 6 external symptoms of loving association. And as we study the verse, the first word is Dadāti. So we'll be focusing on Dadāti, which is giving or offering pure devotees those objects that are in accordance with their requirements. And so we'll study that in detail today, what is proper giving and how we should do that in the society of devotees. So this fourth verse is very wonderful because it gives us very practical advice. So I would like to recite the verse, and then if any devotees would like to recite along with me, they can do so. Dadati prati granati ghuyam akhyati prichati bhumte bhojayate chaiva shadvidam priti lakshanam. So if any devotee would like to also recite the verse, you can unmute now.
I'll give it a shot, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Dadati prati granati guyam akyati prichati bhumte bochayate chaiva sadvidham priti lakshanam.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. So kind of you. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Dadati Pratigranati.
Ghuyam.
Dadati Pratigranati. Guyam Atyati Pritchati. Devo Jayati Cheva Shatvidam Priti Lakshanam.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. What is your name, Prabhuji?
It's Harivalabh.
Oh, Harivalabh Prabhu. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Dhanyavad Pranam, Prabhu.
Dhanyavad, Prabhu. Anyone else? Okay, wonderful. So, Damodar Prabhu, can you read the translation of this verse?
Yes, first, there is offering pure devotees items in accordance with the requirements. Second is accepting prashadi or remnant items given by pure devotees. 3. Revealing to devotees one's confidential realizations concerning bhajan. 4. Inquiring from them about their confidential realizations. 5. Eating with great love the prasad remnants given by the devotees. And 6. Lovingly feeding them prasad.
These are the
Oh, these are the 6 symptoms of loving association with devotees.
Okay, so Srila Rupa Goswami is defining how we can behave with devotees. And today we will study Dadāti, which is offering pure devotees items in accordance with their requirements. And Srila Gurudev in the Hindi Upadeśāmṛta is also giving the same translation. Vishuddh bhakton ka unki avashyakta anusar vastu dena. So in this way, Dadāti is giving those devotees those things that they avashyakta ke anusar, they need according to their requirements. So as mentioned, we take the shelter of our previous acharyas and their comments, and this helps us understand these terms in much more detail. So Sri Radharaman Das Goswami actually gives a very short commentary, not just for Dadati, but for the entire verse in particular. So we will take this commentary and then we won't hear from him again until the fifth verse. So Damodar Prabhu, what does Radharaman Das Goswami say?
In this fourth verse, the extrinsic symptoms of loving exchanges with pure devotees are described. The meaning of this verse is perfectly clear.
All right. So very simple. We should move on, Damodar Prabhu.
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, so Radharaman Das Goswami says we should move on. So let's skip to the fifth verse. We won't study in detail. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, we're moving quick.
Okay, so all right. But here Radharaman Das Goswami uses one very important word, that is extrinsic symptoms. So Damodar Prabhu, do you happen to know what extrinsic means?
Yeah, it's like outwardly visible.
Yes, so external is another synonym, or we also call this extrinsic. So many people translate it as outwardly, things that you see with your own eyes, things that you do with your body. But extrinsic also in Sanskrit, if you read the translation in Hindi, Gurudev uses the word tatashta lakshanam. In fact, Sri Radharaman Das Goswami also uses that word in his Sanskrit commentary. Tatashta lakshanam. Damodar Prabhu, have you heard of this word tatashta lakshan?
They both sound familiar, but I couldn't tell you what they mean.
Okay, so tatashta lakshan. Let us try to understand what Radharaman Das Goswami is saying when we talk about tatashta lakshan. So tatashta lakshan, there's two types of characteristics in any sort of object. For example, there is the primary characteristic, which is known as Swarup Lakshan, and there is the secondary characteristic, which is known as Tatashta Lakshan. So, in this way, let me give you an example. So, if I am referring to someone, let's say I'm referring to someone with a black t-shirt who is the host of the Upadeshamrita series being conducted on Sunday, September 21st. So who would you guess this would be, Damodar Prabhu?
It might be myself.
It might be yourself. All right. So today you're wearing a black t-shirt and you are the host of the Upadeshamrita series. Now let's rewind time. We'll go back to last week. Now, Damodar Prabhu, were you the host of the series last week?
I was not.
No, it was Jai Shri Didi. And let's say Jai Shri Didi was wearing a black t-shirt and it was Sunday, September 14th. So if I said that person who wears a black t-shirt and hosts the Upadeshamritam series, immediately today we may assume that is Damodar Prabhu, of course. But last week that may not have been him. That was maybe Jai Shri Didi if she happened to be wearing a black t-shirt. So similarly, that is a secondary characteristic identifying Damodar Prabhu. It's something that may or may not be true at all times. That is why it is considered an external or secondary characteristic. Now, if I said that person's whose name given by his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj, whose name is Damodar Das Prabhu, is that a primary characteristic or a secondary characteristic?
I think it would be primary.
It would be primary because that is always present for you, right? Is that not the case?
It is.
If I said, oh, that devotee who lives in Austin, Texas, would that be a primary or a secondary characteristic?
Secondary.
Exactly. So those things which are permanent, which are always present, that is considered a swarup lakshan or inherent characteristic. And those things which are not always present are considered tatashta or secondary characteristic. So Radha Raman Das Goswami is trying to tell us something important here. That is, these six things that we see in the relationship between loving devotees may or may not always be present. Let us not hold them as requirements for exchanging love between devotees. They may be there, they may all be there, they may some be there, or they may not be there visibly at all. Still, one can have so much priti or love and affection towards another devotee without exchanging such things. But we will see that very commonly devotees engage in these six types of activities, even externally. Now, it may also, for those who are on a higher platform, may also do these activities internally or through their mind. They may be offering something or giving pranam to another devotee with their mind. They may be receiving such reciprocation through the mind or through, in the case of the gopis and Sri Krishna, through their eyes also. So in this way, Sri Radharaman Das Goswami gives something very important, that we should not be like, well, I don't see those things happening between these two devotees, so they don't love each other, because that's what I read from Srila Rupa Goswami. Well, no, they could be there or they could not be there. These are just external symptoms. All right, so the six or six characteristics may or may not always be there. All right.
And real quick, Prabhu,
Yeah.
we got a question that wouldn't that Damodar initiated by Sripad Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj still be secondary if he has multiple disciples with that name?
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so if I said the disciple of Srila Siddhanti Maharaj, whose name is Damodar Prabhu, who lives in Austin, Texas, who is XYZ years of age, etc., these are much more defining characteristics. Or if I said the son of XYZ parents, that is much more defining. So, yes, good point there. It could be that we may be having some confusion, but still, in the case of Damodar Prabhu, it is still his Swarup Lakshan that he's a disciple of Srila Siddhanti Maharaj, because he is always going to be a disciple of Srila Siddhanti Maharaj. That is something that defines him and is always present within him. The black t-shirt may be taken on or off, but his guru, we hope, should never be taken on or off. All right, so let's continue on to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary.
Bad association is unfavorable to bhakti. Therefore, it is imperative to abandon such association. Those who are intent on progressing in bhakti should associate with pure devotees who possess the power to free one from the tendency to fall into bad association.
So in this verse, because the verse is discussing associating with various devotees and how we should do that, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur starts out by, wait. Before you begin associating with anyone, make sure you examine if they are favorable to your bhakti or if they are unfavorable for your bhakti. So in this case, he is giving us a little bit of a warning in advance. Then he continues.
A description of the loving exchanges shared between devotees, which nourish one's bhakti, is found in this fourth verse. Lovingly giving another devotee that which he requires is Dadāti.
All right. So here the importance is lovingly. Many times we exchange or give something to a devotee or to anyone, actually, frankly, in society, but we don't do so in a loving manner. So this is a very important part that Srila Rupa Goswami is talking about, loving exchanges, that is with Priti. All right, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he also talks about association.
Bhakti appears by the association of Bhagavan's devotees, but since one may not know how to associate with Vaishnavas, this topic is explained in this verse. by the negative effect of maintaining affectionate relationships with the Gyanis, who desire liberation from material existence, with Karmis, who desire to enjoy the fruits of their actions, and with gross sense enjoyers, one's bhakti is harmed.
So, as usual, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is continuing by defining who we should have relationships with. And he specifically points out the Gyanis, the Karmis, and the Anya Abhilashis, or those who are sense enjoyers. And he warns us of maintaining affectionate relationships with them. Because, as Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that a person is like a crystal. And just like a crystal reflects that color of light which is around them, similarly, a person reflects the association that he or she is with. So it is very important, dear devotees, that we should associate with devotees, other Vaishnavas. And especially for those of us who are starting off, but even those, many times I've seen, even those who are very mature or have been in the society of Vaishnavas for many, many years, they still don't understand how to actually associate with devotees. So this verse is very, very practically important. All right, finally.
And one should not give these three types of persons any advice or any item. To do so would be offensive, because describing the glories of Harinam to those devoid of faith is included within the category of Nam Aparad.
Okay, and then finally, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada.
Even in ordinary social activities, these six types of dealings between two loving friends are absolutely necessary. For instance, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel, and over the feast openly expresses what he wishes to do. He then inquires from his business friend how he should act, and sometimes presents are exchanged.
All right, so what we always love about Srila Prabhupada's commentary is that it's very practical and he always gives an easy to understand example. So, dear devotees, it's not, as they say, it's not rocket science. We do this on a regular basis, especially when we are growing up in school, etc. That we understand how to become friends with one another, but sometimes we just don't know how to translate that in the society of devotees. Somehow something happens to us that causes us to have rifts and causes us to have bad relations within the society of devotees. So Srila Prabhupada reminds us, even business people do this who have selfish motives for themselves. Then he continues.
Thus, whenever there is a dealing of priti, or love in intimate dealings, these six activities are executed. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advised that one should renounce worldly association and keep company with the devotees, Sangha Tyagat Sato Vrite. The life of the Krishna conscious society is nourished by these six types of loving exchange among the members.
Okay, so what I found very interesting is this very last line, that a society that is devoted to Sri Krishna, when these six loving exchanges happen between devotees, then the society flourishes and is nourished. But when we forget to do this amongst devotees, then we have seen both in the past and even in today's world that sanghas, they fall apart. So, dear devotees, we should try to remember that having priti, having loving association, loving exchanges with devotees is very important because, frankly speaking, in this entire population of this world, how many are Vaishnavas? Very few. And even amongst Vaishnavas, how many are within our Sangha, especially our local Sangha, which we are mostly interacting with? Even more few, even more rare. It is even fewer. So if we are having controversy and fights and engaging in arguments with just a small portion, that small portion that we get to interact with, how will we be able to have a flourishing and nourished society? So in this way, understanding how to exchange love with one another is very important. In the life of Srila Rupa Goswami, there was no such society. There were very few people in Sri Vrindavan at that time. He had no such society, therefore he's not writing for society. He's writing simply for individual relationships that he had and individual relationships that devotees had at the time. Because a society is made up of individual relationships. So when we start to have good individual relationships with one another, then we automatically can have good individual relationships with the rest of the Krishna conscious society. In fact, in the purport of Srila Prabhupada, he's very nicely writing about why he established ISKCON. He established ISKCON so that there can be these six loving exchanges amongst the members. And he then describes that how he started this society all by himself. But because he did these loving exchanges, then that society grew. And that is the nature of our previous acharyas. They're always giving, giving, giving. Dadāti, Dadāti, Dadāti. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada continues. What else does he say, Prabhupada?
Not only is the chanter of the Maha Mantra purified, but the heart of anyone who happens to hear the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is also cleansed. By chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can actually convert many people throughout the world to Krishna consciousness. Contributing or distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadāti principle.
So in the eyes of the acharyas, real Dadāti is when we are spreading the message of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So in this way, the acharyas are demonstrating this with their own example and giving us instructions that we also can do the same. Now, finally, I'm taking also the commentary today of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj because he has a very interesting way of describing Dadāti.
We shall come to present new things to the sadhus and try to live by the old remnants left by them. Giving something for the service of a sadhu and taking his prasadam, whatever he gives, we accept that. We can increase our attraction and love for a person in such a way by giving him raw items and by accepting his prasadam. We shall try to live by the remnants of the Vaishnavas. We shall present new things to the sadhus, and we shall try to live by their remnants. Tena tyaktena bunjita.
Tena tyaktena bunjita. So this is from the Upanishads, this phrase. So tena tyaktena bunjita means let go and rejoice. Meaning don't be so attached to keeping everything to yourself. In this way, Sridhar Maharaj, he's saying, give, give, and give. And when we give to the pure devotee, by taking their remnants, this is what I liked about his commentary here, the example of giving something new and then living by their remnants. And we will study what are remnants given by the sadhu when we study the word pratigranati. There's a very famous verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that describes the remnants of the three types of remnants of a sadhu. So here, when we offer something to the pure devotee, when we give something to the pure devotee, then when they give us their remnants back, then we should maintain our life with those remnants. So this is such a wonderful instruction by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Now, dear devotees, I would like to talk about just the practical aspect of Dadāti and what is real loving association. Because as mentioned, in today's world and even in the past, we have seen, or maybe we are going to see, different unfortunate exchanges that happen between devotees, especially even within the same Sangha, but even outside of one Sangha with other Sanghas of different groups, etc. So the truth is that we should try to maintain loving association with all devotees because being a devotee is extremely rare. So I have seen both in my own life, and I can tell you with my own personal example, that sometimes we forget how to be friends. The truth is we don't often remember how to be friends with people, especially as we get older and older. I'm speaking for myself. As children, I have seen my own children, for example, when they meet someone new, they just immediately begin playing with love and affection because they have no hindrance, they have an innocent mind, and they don't have any preconceived notions about them. But as we get older and older, we sometimes forget how to become friends with others. So today we'll talk a little bit about friendship, and we'll try to take some Shastra recommendations about friendship. Because the truth is that every single topic has been discussed in Shastra. We just have to find it. So this very important verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam describes how material relationships are in this world. So Prabhuji, can you read the translation of this verse?
In this material world, which advances like a river that carries away the living entity, all people become friends, relatives, and enemies in due course of time. They also act neutrally, they mediate, they despise one another, and they act in many other relationships. Nonetheless, despite these various transactions, no one is permanently related.
So this is the unfortunate truth about material relationships. Sometimes we are bandhu, as it says, bandhu gyati ari madhyastha, mitro dasina vidvishaha, sarva eva hi sarvesham, bhavanti kramasho mittaha, bhavanti like a river. As a river flows and never stays the same, that also happens in this material world with our relationships. Sometimes we are friends, sometimes those same friends become our enemies. But dear devotees, this is about the material world. So Srila Rupa Goswami is trying to tell us, let us not take this sort of mentality in our relationships with devotees. So, uh, dear devotees, we have seen that two devotees often meet each other, and because they are part of either the same sangha, perhaps they are the disciples of the same guru, or they're in the same association, etc., they come and meet each other with smiles on their faces and greeting each other, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. But unfortunately, with the passage of time, three different things can happen as a result. So, dear devotees, sometimes what happens is we meet someone and we have loving exchange. We think that they are their friend, but after some passage of time, one of the persons, unfortunately, is not so pleased with the relationship. So even though one person may not be pleased, the other person has no idea, thinking that this person is continuing to be my friend. But in fact, what happens in the heart of one person, he no longer likes them for various reasons. And this may happen to one person, or this may happen to, even in a more unfortunate circumstance, this may happen to both parties. So both people may, after some time, due to maybe criticizing one another, talking behind the back, etc., etc., both people develop enmity towards each other, even though they initially started off as friends and devotees of the same group. So, Damodar Prabhu, have you seen this happen? Not maybe not in your personal life, but have you seen this amongst the society of devotees?
Definitely. Yeah, it happens.
Yes. So we see this all the time where either one or both people are no longer friends and in fact sometimes become enemies. And of course, what is the ideal situation? We would ideally like, all of us, inherently, if we ask ourselves, we would ideally like to meet a friend that is sahriday, that is a friend who understands our heart. Because as devotees, the truth is that spiritual life is a big part of our heart. Even though we may be interacting in the material world through jobs, careers, family life, etc., the truth is that we are internally, a big portion of our heart is our spiritual life. And we very frankly can have a true friend in the society of devotees because the devotees understand the heart, the spiritual heart of our real self. So ideally, when we meet a devotee or when we get to know a devotee and become their friend, the best result is that even after a long period of time, we still remain both as friends. So what we will study today is what brings about this result. Because all of us want this result. Really, if we ask ourselves, all of us want this result. But somehow the first two results end up happening instead sometimes. So let us analyze what our acharyas, what the Bhagavatam, what various commentators have described as what brings about real friendship over a long period of time. So this verse that Srila Rupa Goswami has put in Śrī Upadeśāmṛtam actually comes from the Panchatattva. This verse is actually not written by Srila Rupa Goswami himself, believe it or not. Was written before his time in the Panchatantra. And the Panchatantra is bona fide literature, of course, if Srila Rupa Goswami is taking from that literature. And this verse is literally written exactly as is in that Panchatantra. So Srila Rupa Goswami takes that verse. Now, if you go back to the Panchatantra where this is written, there's a verse that comes right after it. So let us read that verse because that too also helps us understand what is priti, what is friendship. Nopakaram vina priti katanchit kasyachit bhavet upayachit dhanena yato deva apishtada.
Unless one person causes benefit to another person, usually does not occur, just as the devas are loved because they grant desired boons when prayed to.
So Damodar Prabhu, when does friendship actually happen? What is this verse trying to tell us?
When we receive some gift from another.
When we receive a benefit from another. At the end of the day, when we are looking for true friendship, we should also look that this friendship gives us a benefit. Because if after some time, for example, if I meet Damodar Prabhu and I say Hari Bol, and I try to become friends with him, we may even be having the same likings. We may even like the same clothing. We may even like the same people. We may even like the same devotees. But after some time, if we do not find a benefit from our relationship, then that relationship does not develop into priti. Now, this may sound very selfish, but the truth is that this is very natural. Because here the verse is describing that why do we love the various devtas and devis, or even Sri Krishna himself? Because devotees first approach the Lord in a Vaidhi manner, in a rules and regulations manner, oftentimes, because they can grant us something when they are prayed to. That's why we have love and affection towards the devas and not so much to the danavas or the demons, because the demons cannot grant us what we want, but the devas can. So this verse is a nice comparison that devas are loved because they give us something, they give us some benefit. Similarly, a friendship develops into priti when we get some benefit out of that. Now, immediately upon reading this verse, I was like, this is very selfish. Friendship should not be selfish. But let us try to understand which benefit they are talking about. If we continue on the Panchatantra, there's also another verse that follows. Pashyadanasya mahatmyam sadhya pratyaya karakam yat prabhavadapi dvesho mitratam yati tatshanat.
Behold the greatness of generosity. It creates trust at once. By its power, even enmity is transformed into friendship in that very moment.
So, with the power of Dadāti, with giving, with being generous, then one can develop friendship very, very easily. In fact, this verse is telling us that one can develop friendship even with one's enemies. Damodar Prabhu, let's say that you don't like me very much. After all, I'm such a wicked person in my heart. But if I come and give you your favorite food, or if I come and give you something very nice, what happens to your heart immediately?
It would start to warm up pretty quick.
It would start to warm up, right? So, in the same way, the Panchatattva is saying, because it's following this verse, Dadāti Pratigranati, that it's giving us the importance of being generous. Dear devotees, let us be generous first in any relationship. If we are generous first, if we have a giving nature first, then this is true unselfishness. So, this is the meaning of the previous verse, that we may have a long lasting relationship with someone if it gives us some benefit. But this verse is telling us that how we should start our friendship, that is by giving, giving, and giving. So if we are the first to give, we are there is no loss or minimization of that person. In fact, that person is the more generous, the more greater person, because one can control even one's enemy with love and affection and by generosity. All right, so dear devotees, the way to conduct a relationship that is full of love is to offer some benefit. So when we offer some benefit, then we can be assured that that relationship is going to evolve into love and affection. And there is a very famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where it discusses who are our two friends. Those are svato vare, those who are superior to us, and those that can give us guidance within our life, because they are the true givers. As we mentioned, the previous acharyas are the true givers of benefit. So, dear devotees, think about this whenever you meet someone, whether it's an existing friend or whether it's a potential new friend. Let us try to think, how can I give something to them today? In that way, we can offer some benefit and develop priti with one another. Furthermore, there's a nice verse in the Subhashita Ratana Bhandagara. This verse was given by Sri Hari Parshad Prabhu in his series. So I'd like to take that verse because it's a very good verse. And this verse describes what we should not do when we are friends with one another. So this verse is Ichchit ched vipulam maitrim trini tatra nakarayet vagvadam artha sambandham tat patni paribhashanam.
If you desire abundant, long-lasting friendships, then do not engage in these three activities. 1. Dispute with a friend, especially in a public setting. 2. Financial agreements or business deals. Or 3. Flirting with their spouse.
All right. So the first one is that oftentimes, because we are hiding behind a computer, dear devotees, we see on social media platforms or in WhatsApp groups arguments among so many devotees. And because they are hiding behind a computer and not doing this in physical sense, then they feel that they can speak any sort of nonsense about a devotee. Dear devotees, we should not engage with this kind of behavior. If you have a dispute with a friend, because after all, sometimes there may be disputes, we should try to solve that dispute, resolve that dispute in private with one another. Let us not engage in public humiliation or public criticism, because that is the worst type of activity that devotees can do amongst each other. The second is devotees oftentimes, because we are devotees, we should engage in financial agreements or business deals with one another. This should be done very, very carefully. Sometimes we immediately enter some sort of arrangement. For example, I may think that I'm helping some devotee by employing them or by taking employment from another devotee. Or we may be doing some exchanging of money, etc., in a business deal. We should be very, very careful of doing such activities. These activities can be done with very mature devotees, friendships that have lasted a very long time before one starts. And it should be done in a very, very simple and easy, straightforward, transparent way. Only if absolutely required. Only if there is mutual love and affection between those two devotees. Otherwise, dear devotees, I have seen so many devotees fight amongst each other because of some financial issue. If we don't do this from the start, then we won't get into trouble with them, because we want long-lasting friendships with the devotees, not something that goes wrong because of material money exchanges. And then finally, this third one is self-explanatory. We have discussed this with discussion on upastavegam. That is, one should not try to flirt with another's wife or husband, especially in private. So please, dear devotees, let us not do that. That is a very, very easy instruction, because how can one maintain friendship with their friend if they are behind the back or even in front of them engaging in this sort of behavior? So this is a very nice verse. Now, Damodar Prabhu, when you hear such things, such as we should be giving, we should be giving, we should be giving, and we should avoid such activities that cause rifts in relationships. And I say that we should be friends with all the devotees. What sort of doubt may come in the mind?
Well, the biggest one is we have limited time, and to give requires time.
Absolutely. So this is a very practical matter, is that we cannot be friends with everyone, because being friends with everyone means we also lose our time to perform bhajan. So very, very good point, Prabhu, that most of us, even though we may have so many hundreds or thousands of friends or contacts in our phone or in our Facebook page, etc., the truth is most of us have just a few friends that we are really true friends with. Most of us may have just a handful of friends. Some of us may not even have that handful. Some of us may just have one or two. So the truth is that true friends, true friendship that Srila Rupa Goswami is describing. Because remember, Srila Rupa Goswami was not a part of a huge society with thousands or lakhs or millions of devotees. He was living in Vrindavan Dham. There were the six Goswamis. He had just a literal handful of friends, five other friends with him. So in this way, true friendship is on an individual level. And we may just have a handful of such friends. That is okay because we don't have time for having so many millions of so-called friends that don't have any depth in the relationship. Wonderful. Any other doubt that comes in the mind, Prabhu?
Well, sometimes there are conflicts,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds good on paper, talk it out in private, but sometimes people are real stubborn and it's a real problem.
Yes. So the truth is that even though you may be giving, 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 you may not receive such reciprocation from the other person. So that is definitely another doubt that comes into mind that it looks nice, Prabhu, you are speaking so nicely, be friends, etc. But it may not always come into reality in this real world. So Srila Rupa Goswami knows this also, and our acharyas understand this. So they warn us that be careful. Let us not also engage in friendship with everyone. Let us engage in friendship with those that are sajatiya snigdha sotovare. That is, those who are loving to us, those who are like-minded, have the same goals, and those who are superior to us, that who can give us true benefit. So, dear devotees, we may not be friends with everyone, but what is the sign of a good friend? This is described in that same literature. दर्शने स्पर्शने वापि श्रवणे भाषणेऽपि वा यत्र द्रवति अन्तरङ्गं स स्नेह इति कथ्यते.
If your heart melts upon seeing, touching, listening to, or speaking with a person, then it is called love or affection, sneha.
So, Damodar Prabhu, does your heart melt upon seeing just anyone?
No.
Your heart melts upon seeing who?
Well, my Guruji, for starts.
Your Guru Maharaj, because he is your true friend. And also to those devotees who really touch your heart. With everyone and anyone, we cannot give the keys to our heart. Frankly speaking, we don't go out on the street every day and just hand over our heart, which is so dear to us. Our emotions and our sentiments are our nija, like our dearmost to us. We don't just openly speak them with anyone. So here this verse is absolutely defining who is a true friend. That is a person who our heart melts for naturally upon seeing, touching them, listening to them, etc. So you can see in this picture Bilva Mangal Thakur, Shri Krishna is his true friend. And Shri Krishna also is seeing Bilva Mangal Thakur as his true friend. And hence they give and they receive. What are they giving? Their love and affection, their heart to one another. So, dear devotees, we don't experience this with everyone, but whomever we do experience this with, we should be very, very um, careful and also very, very loving to them by giving them Dadāti. So, in that same Panchatattva, there's another beautiful verse that describes how such friendship works. And it's giving the example of sugarcane. For those of you who have gone to India, or for those of you who reside in India, maybe on parikarma, when you're sweating and it's hot and you're tired, you'll see very sugarcane juice vendors on the side. And they have long sticks of very hard very tough sugar cane that they are putting through a machine. And as they put it through the machine, then this wonderful nectar sugarcane juice comes out. So this verse is saying, as a special taste is gradually produced in segment after segment of sugarcane from the tip onwards. So just like when the juice maker is putting in that sugarcane, that stem, that stick through the machine, in the beginning, so much juice doesn't come out. But as it goes, as it goes, similarly, it gets more and more nectar comes out. So this verse, so too is in friendship with the virtuous. That means, dear devotees, we should be friends with those who are virtuous, with those who are sajjan metri, tatvat sajjan metri, those who are sajjan vyakti, those who are virtuous people. Because what happens if you are with the viparit, those who are not so virtuous, the opposite happens. They suck you dry. So in this way, dear devotees, relationships with friends give us nourishment, give us that nectar. We should be friends with devotees, but not with every single type. So when looking up the commentary of the acharyas about friendship, I stumbled upon this beautiful commentary by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan in the Gita verse 6.9. And here he's writing in his Sanskrit. Prabhuji, can you read the translation?
Here, a surit is one who by nature desires another's welfare. A mitra is a friend who helps out of affection.
So suhrid, yah suhrid adishu samaha buddhi. That is someone who is a suhrid, who is a natural friend. He desires their welfare. And a mitra, another word, a very common Hindi word, is a friend who helps out when you need them. So a true friend desires one's welfare. And as you might know, at the end of each letter that Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada wrote, he used to sign his letters with a very famous signature. He used to say, "Your ever well wisher." So in this way, our acharyas are actually our true friends because they are suhit. They desire our welfare. And they desire not only our welfare in this material world, but they desire our spiritual welfare. So we have taken this slide exactly in our previous classes. Srila Gurudev also discusses of what type of persons who desire our real welfare.
And what sort of saintly person shall we try to mix with earnestly? In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-2-91, Rupa Goswami has said, Sahati yase snigde sadho sangha svato vare. Those who are in our
Sagatya.
line,
Yes. Go ahead.
those who are in our line, who have the same high spiritual aspirations as we do, and who hold a superior position. To associate with such saintly persons will help us the most to progress towards the ultimate goal.
So, dear devotees, when you find such a person, try to engage in Dadāti, giving. When you find such a person who helps us towards our ultimate goal, then give, give, give. That is the instruction by Srila Rupa Goswami. Because the true friend is the one who gives us the true benefit. It is very easy to say that we should become friends with only pure devotees. That is not what Srila Rupa Goswami is writing. The pure devotee is the true friend of all. Everyone wants to become friends with the pure devotee. But we should also become friends with even those who are equal to us. Because when we are dealing with someone who is superior to us, we may have some awe and reverence. For example, Damodar Prabhu may have some reverence towards of course, he has some reverence towards his Guru Maharaj, who is his true friend. And to somebody who is junior, he may be bestowing his mercy upon them. But to someone who is equal, they also can be our true friend. So when we are searching for those who are equal, because sometimes we can only exchange our heart, our feelings within our heart with someone who is equal to us, someone who is on the same level as us. We may not be able to do that with our guru, and we may not also, of course, share with someone who is junior to us who may not understand. But to someone who is equal to us, we can definitely share our heart. So, dear devotees, don't just become friends with the pure devotee. That is the best, of course. But we should also look to become friends with those who are equal to us. Because the true friend is the one that provides the true benefit. And when I was looking up uh, what our acharyas or what the Srimad Bhagavatam has talked about in terms of friendship, there's a very interesting angle by that Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur takes when describing the pastime of Vritrasur. Damodar Prabhu, have you heard the pastime of Vritrasur?
Maybe.
Okay, so Vritrasur, who it was Maharaj Chitraketu in his previous life, he was then cursed by Parvati because she perceived that he was criticizing her dear husband, Lord Shiva. And so she cursed him to become a demon, and he became Vritrasur. But because he was a devotee, he was Chitraketu Maharaj, he still maintained that devotion for the Supreme Lord within his heart, even though he had the body of a demon. So because he had the body and the nature of a demon, he was cursed. He would cause so much trouble and ruckus. And therefore, Indra, the king of the heavenly planets, was worried that this demon was a special demon. He had a heart for the Supreme Lord. He had never met such a demon before. He had a heart for the Supreme Lord, and he thought, this demon will cause me a lot of trouble. He can take my kingdom away. So Indra prayed and he requested that he get the strength from the Lord that he should kill this demon Vritrasur. Now Vritrasur was engaged in a very fierce battle with Indra, and they were fighting and fighting. And Vritrasur was actually stronger than Indra. He was defeating him. But because Indra received a boon from the Lord, he received a weapon by which he could kill Vritrasur. So you can see in this picture, Indra is leaping upon Vritrasur, even though Vritrasur is so huge, and then he kills and destroys Vritrasur. But before he dies, Vritrasur is so intelligent that he prays to the Supreme Lord prior to his death. And he gives up his nature of fighting because he realizes that the Supreme Lord actually wants Indra to win. So even though he was defeating Indra, he realizes that Indra is receiving the favor of the Lord and wants him, the Lord wants him to give up this body of a demon so that he can progress further. And then he says something so interesting to Indra. And in this commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vritrasur tells Indra something that was very surprising.
Vritrasur says, "Listen, O Sakra, you are a bhakta of my Prabhu, and I too am a bhakta of the same Prabhu. In that, however, he bestows enjoyment and opulence upon you, and not rather upon me.
1 second.
Here
So
of the
here,
reason."
So here, Vritrasura is telling Indra right before his final death that you are a devotee and I too am a devotee. See, this is, you are a devotee of my Prabhu, you are a devotee in my Sangha, you are a devotee of my Guru, etc. And I too am a devotee. But that Prabhu, that Lord, he bestowed enjoyment and opulence upon you, and he did not do that upon me. So sometimes, even within one's own group, a guru may bestow something to one disciple, but not to the other. In this way, some enmity may occur, just like in the case of Vritrasur and Indra. There is some enmity between them. But he's saying, oh, this vision is so shallow. It's so first level. Because just because he gave you enjoyment and opulence, he's made you king of the heavens. He made you Indra, and he made me a demon in this life. You may think that I am not a devotee. Then he continues.
Hear of the reason for this, that is, of the disposition of my Prabhu. He
Oh,
does
oh
not.
Indra, oh Indra, my Prabhu is not thinking like this. My Prabhu is very special. The Supreme Lord is very different. His disposition, his nature is completely different. Go ahead.
He does not bestow those riches upon persons who are of one-pointed mind upon him. Why? Because such riches are those riches from which enmity and so forth, that is, distractions from the joy of bhakti, ensue.
So this is such a beautiful comment that he may have given you the king post. He may have given you so many riches, but this is actually not his true mercy. His true mercy is those who he gives the joy of bhakti to, because those who he gives riches to, that is actually a distraction from bhakti. So, dear Indra, even though you may be killing me at this moment, and you and I have the same Lord, he is actually giving me the true benefit because I am his true friend and he is mine. So, even though, dear devotees, externally we may see the pure devotee reprimand us, we may see the pure devotee give us something that is not so pleasing to the tongue or pleasing to the mind upon immediate arrival. They are actually trying to give us the joy of bhakti. This is the nature of a true friend, the nature of a true sadhu. So a true friend, it may not be the one that lavishes you with gifts, lavishes you with external praise. The true friend may be your ever well-wisher. He may even do shasan, that is reprimand you for your benefit, for your bhakti. That is the true giving. So, dear devotees, when we are trying to give benefit to another, we may do so externally, as Sri Radharaman Das Goswami said, by giving gifts, which are wonderful. We should. We should definitely give because the Acharyas Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that we should give according to their requirements. They may need something. This is wonderful. But we should also, as our friendship develops, we should also give something for their true benefit. This is a symptom of a long-lasting friendship. So the giving of devotees may be very different of the giving of people in this material world. And the Srimad Bhagavatam also gives an example of one such gift. Proshtapadyam Paurnamasyam Hema Simha Samanvitam Dadāti yo Bhagavatam Sayati Paramam Gatim.
If on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination.
So here the word Dadāti yo Bhagavatam, Dadāti, that what devotees should give? The Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, of course, as a book, as a physical book, but also the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, both are benefited. Not only is the listener or the friend benefited, but you too also will attain the supreme destination. So finally, I would like to end with this verse from Mana Shiksha because it also uses this word Dadāti. It describes that which is given by our previous acharyas. So I will try to sing this verse. Please forgive me if my voice and also the rhythm is not correct. Yatha dushtatvam davayati shastasyapi kripaya yatha mayam premamritam api dadati ujjvalam असौ यथा श्रीगन्धर्वभजन विदाये प्रेरयति मां तथा गौष्टिकाक्वगिरिधरं इह त्वं भज मना.
Therefore, O mind, with utter humility and grief-stricken words, just worship Sri Giridhari Krishna in Vraj in such a way that he will become pleased with me. By his causeless mercy, he will remove my wickedness, bestow the nectar of his supremely radiant prem, and confer upon me the inspiration to worship Srimati Radhika.
So here Sri Raghunath Das Goswami is giving real Dadāti. He's crying out to the acharyas that please, please give me what? Dadāti ujjalam. That give me that supremely radiant Krishna prem. That so in this way our acharyas, they're actually the true givers. Because through their causeless mercy, they yatha mayam premamritam. They give us that supremely radiant prem. By removing our wickedness, which is a side effect, their main concern is that they give us the supremely radiant Krishna prem. And then, of course, as Raghunath Das Goswami's mood is in Madhurya Ras, to confer upon me the inspiration to worship Srimati Radhika. So when this verse was being taught by Srila Gurudev to some of his brahmachari disciples, there's a very beautiful exchange that happens between them. So Srila Gurudev is asking, what is the meaning of Dadāti Ujjvala Rasam? That is this verse here, Dadāti Ujjvalam. He's asking, oh, brahmacharis, I want you to learn this verse properly. Therefore, what is the meaning of Dadāti that our acharyas are trying to say? And here you can see the exchange. Madhuvrat Prabhu says, Dadāti means to give, that we have learned in this class. And there was another devotee, Tamopaha Das. He says it means actually, give me Ujjvala Prem. Give me that Shri Krishna Prem. And then Gurudev says, what is that exact Ujjvala Prem that Raghunath Das Goswami is asking for? And he responds, the Dasya of Srimati Radhika. So in this way, our acharyas are giving, giving, giving. And they also, in the next word, which is what we will discuss in our next class, is pratigranati, receiving. So they also expect that we exchange. So as we give those things that are required by them, just as Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, we give something new, then we also receive from them, we get their remnants. So when they give to us, then we also should reciprocate by giving to them. And there is this nice quotation by Srila Gurudev. He quotes the same verse that we started with in this class because a devotee asks him, Mahabuddhi Prabhu, for those of you who know him, he says, Gurudev, yesterday you asked me how we can repay you. We can't, but we must somehow try to do something. And Prabhuji, what does Gurudev respond?
He says, try to follow me and know my will. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Sri Prema Bhakti Chandrika Bashila Nartam Das Thakur.
So the real giving by the acharyas is that they are trying to give us Krishna Prem, and our real reciprocation or giving back to them should be that we try to follow them and understand their heart and their will. And then he quotes this verse because Srila Rupa Goswami did that. He gave to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him instructions, and he reciprocated with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by understanding his manobhishta, his internal will. And then he established that in this material world. So by following the instructions of our acharyas, that is our true reciprocation with them. That is real things, not just the external part, but also the internal part. So with that, dear devotees, I would like to finish today's class. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. If anything good has been said in this class, it's because I'm literally reading the words of the acharyas. Nothing has come from my own realization. I'm not qualified for that. But if any mistake has been made, that's certainly because I'm trying to put some realization of my own, which is not correct. So please forgive me. You all can also correct me. Hare Krishna.
I want to thank you, Sachin Prabhu. Your Dadāti, your giving nature, spending so much time putting together these thoughtful slides, helping us to enter these texts. I think it's all warming our heart, and I think we all feel like your friend.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You are truly my friend. You are always willing to serve in this, and you are helping me. Without you, I actually could not do this. And truth is that this is our way of reciprocating to the previous acharyas, to our guru janas, to our diksha and shiksha gurus. Whatever we receive, we try to repeat. Like Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, we give something and then take their remnants. So that's what I'm trying to do, Prabhu. But you are actually helping me do it. And all the devotees here are encouraging me to do it. So thank you so much.
No, I'm giving very little back, Prabhu. You're giving so much, so thank you.
That's not true. You have no idea. You have no idea, Prabhu. You are giving so much. Thank you.
Well, if anyone has any questions on today's class, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. I guess everyone's an expert in friendship already. No questions, no problems.
Wonderful. So if there are no questions, if anyone has any comment or any correction that they think that I should have made, then please also, you're welcome to say otherwise.
Hare Krishna, Sachin Prabhu, thank you so much.
Hare
Damodar Prabhu, thank you so much. All the volunteers and devotees here, thank you so much. Tanvat
Hare Krishna,
Pranam.
Sachin Prabhu, thank you so much.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you very much. Did you have any
Hare Krishna,
question?
Prabhuji. Yes, it was me, Hare Krishna Dandava Pranam Prabhuji. Actually, I wanted to ask a question regarding last class, but maybe if no one has a question regarding this class, if I can maybe just, like a very general question, but last class, if I remember correctly, we were speaking about how bhakti actually gets mixed very easily, and basically 99% of us are that we're actually not performing pure bhakti. And my question is, how can we, like, is there any symptoms? How can we figure out where we have mixed bhakti, and how can we dissolve that? Is there any answer to that?
Okay, so thank you very much for that question, Didi. So this question is addressed in Bhakti Tattva Vivek by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So in that he examines this verse, Anya Vilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So the Swarup Lakshan, we learned what is Swarup Lakshan. Didi, what is Swarup Lakshan? You can unmute.
Lakshan, something with our form due to Svarup, but I'm not sure.
Swarup, like we said, primary characteristic, right? Damodar Prabhu's primary characteristic, and then we describe some secondary characteristics that may or may not always be there. So the Swarup Lakshan of Bhakti as defined by Srila Rupa Goswami. In this verse, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, you know this verse, Didi, of course? So in this verse, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, that one should have no other desires. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, that bhakti should not be covered by jnana or karma. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, continuous service to Sri Krishna in that which is favorable to him for his benefit, for his happiness. This is Uttama Bhakti. So when we are describing mixed bhakti, it is because one of these characteristics are not being covered properly. Meaning, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, we have some other external desire that is not for the benefit of Krishna. For example, I love Shri Krishna, but internally I want to go back home, back to Godhead because I hate this material world. My life stinks. So is that for the pleasure of Krishna, or there is some slight desire for one's own benefit? That's one example.
It's basically
Then we also, pure bhakti should not be covered by gyan or karma. That is, if I perform some puja, if I worship the Lord, then I should get some benefit. That's karma kand. That is, I do one yagya puja, and in return I get a good husband, a good life, etc. That should not be there. Gyan should not be there. That is, I want to merge into the Supreme Lord. Even the desire to go back home, back to Godhead, because I want to get out of this material world is sort of a touch of gyan. Because ultimately, what is that? I should go back home, back to Godhead because I'm suffering. I want the mitigation of my suffering. So when we are looking at our own bhakti, see Krishna, as we described in this friendship, that Krishna doesn't give the keys to his heart to just anyone. He gives the keys to his heart to someone who he trusts. Just like you don't give the keys to your heart to just anyone. Damodar Prabhu said we can't have thousands of friends because he can't give the keys to his heart to just everyone. So similarly, Krishna, doesn't give his heart to just anyone. He checks. is this person actually caring for my benefit? Or subtly, does he want something or she wants something internally that she desires? We may do some lip service. I want pure bhakti. But internally, we may not feel that way. Krishna identifies that very easily. So in this book, Bhakti Tattva Vivek by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I encourage you to read it. He describes many different types of coverings on bhakti, or bhakti that resembles pure bhakti, but it's not. Pratibimba bhakti, chaya bhakti, etc. For example, we may go to a event. I'm not criticizing the event. I'm simply giving an example. A kirtan mela, where many devotees are externally chanting the names of the Lord, but internally they have no sentiment of pure bhakti. They are thinking, oh, I should look very nice in front of others. Just see here, I am a pure devotee. So this is like a pratibimba reflection. Not, it may look like it, but it's not really there. So when one does one's own self-analysis with the words of the acharyas, then they can easily figure out, oh, is my bhakti really pure? And then one can try to correct themselves with the help of the acharyas. This is why reading their scriptures, their granths is very, very important. I hope that answers your question, Didi.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, we also have a question from the kitchen crew.
Okay.
And the question is, when having friendship relationship with devotees more senior than us, how can we make sure we don't become too comfortable and maybe make aparad?
Yes, so this is a wonderful question. So in this regard, I will say two things. One is that it is described with one's own Diksha Guru, with one's initiating spiritual master, that one should maintain a mood of formality. One should have some awe and reverence towards one's Diksha Guru. But sometimes we may not be able to reveal our heart fully to our Diksha Guru. For example, I'm suffering under Kam, Krodh, Madmo. I'm suffering under lust, anger, greed, envy, pride. We may not always have that intimate relationship that we can share such things. For this, Srila Jiva Goswami says this is where Shiksha Guru comes in. Shiksha Guru, we can have a relationship like our dearmost friend. They may be superior to us, but because we have that intimate relationship, like they are friendly towards us, that's why Srila Rupa Goswami says, Sajatiya Snigdha, then we can have that relationship with them. For some rare devotees, they may have that in one person, both Diksha and Shiksha, from the same personality. And therefore, they have a very intimate relationship with their Guru. This is the best of all situations. But for some of us, we may have limited association with our Diksha Guru. Then we should search for Shiksha Guru by which we should maintain that type of relationship. So the question that's being asked is, how do we make sure we don't cross the line? So when we are looking at our Gurujanas, because we are talking about seniors, that's what they are referring to. When we are looking to our Gurujanas, we can categorize them in this way. The second thing is, it is always a good idea to first start off your relationship with some formality. It's a good idea because when we start and carefully build our relationship with someone, then the intimacy develops over time, the comfort develops over time. But if we come in with the mood that, oh, we just joke around with them, we just play around, I'll just say whatever I want, then we may cross this line and we may cause some offense or some unhappiness in the heart of the other devotee. So if we start by treading, see, we don't need to become friends right away. A long-term friendship is a long-term friendship. Therefore, by starting off carefully with some formality, understanding the heart of the other person, then we will see that how we can develop some sneha, where our heart melts upon seeing them. So, hope that answers this question.
Yeah, I think it was a good answer, Prabhu. I know something that helps me because it can be very tricky is like you're saying the formality, always doing a Dandavat pranams, trying to sit lower than your guru, letting him eat first. These kind of things reinforce our head that he's above us, something special is here.
Oh, that's a definite proper etiquette with one's guru. One should not treat one's Diksha Guru particularly as in this way. Some reverence should always be there. We have seen this mistake also been made with some devotees and their Guru Janas. Yes, this is not pleasing to the Guru. This is not pleasing to the Guru because the Guru is superior. Hence why we take shelter. Wonderful. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Damodar Prabhu, for sharing that.
Well, does anyone else have any other questions?
All right. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Finally, I would like to say is let us also refrain from talking behind each other's back. That is a very, very important aspect of friendship, and certainly with one's Guru Janas. So that is what I would like to say. And that is the cause of many, many problems I have seen both in my own case, when I was very immature, and not that I'm mature now, but certainly trying. And that is very, very problematic in the society of devotees. So let us try to control our vacho vegam, our tongues, and that way we can avoid this problem altogether. Hare Krishna. Thank you again, dear devotees. Next week we will continue on Pratyegranati. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.